Thank you so much for clicking on my video. And if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to be talking about Jeremy Clarkson's comments about Meghan. So let's get into it. Once again, thank you so much for clicking on my video. Thank you to everyone who watches, subscribes, who supports. Thank you so much, Leola Brown, for your support. I really appreciate it. Thank you to the Royal Court, the Patreon members, as well as the friend circle. You mean more to me than you can ever imagine. I really appreciate everything. Today, I'm so sorry, but I don't have it in me to make a high energy video, because when I have just been consumed over the weekend with this Jeremy Clarkson stuff, and when I read the tweet a couple of days ago, the first time, that showed an excerpt from an article that Jeremy Clarkson wrote for The Sun, when I saw that the first time, y'all wouldn't have wanted to hear from me. I wasn't positive. I was my triggered self. Over the weekend, a tweet came out that showed an excerpt from an article in The Sun written by Jeremy Clarkson. If you don't know who he is I'm trying not to say journalist. He's essentially just a pundit, a rant, a trash bucket who has an article and a few clips. He gets to do appearances here and there. He's a disgusting, vile human being who should not have access to the free world. But in short, he is the pulsating, erupting pimple on the ass of the media. And he decided to take out his own self-loathing, his own chauvinistic aggression, his own hatred for himself, and clearly his own mommy issues in an article toward Meghan. And he said, "Meghan is a different story. I hate her. Not like I hate Nicola Sturgeon or Rose West. I hate her on a cellular level." And stop there, because it goes on. We're going to get there. Cellular level. Cells make up the body. They make up everything in the body. Everything on your person is made of cells. This person is telling us, and we need to listen, that everything that creates life within him, that's healing, that's digestion, that's his normal bodily functions, all function with the purpose to hate another human being. That's some type shit. That's some mass pum 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 type shit. This is a manifesto. This is not an article. This is a manifesto, and we need to watch this. This is how grocery stores and churches and movie theaters and schools get pew, 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 because people don't know where to put their fucking aggression. People are out here wandering the streets who harbor this towards a person they've never met. We'll continue. At night, I'm unable to sleep as I lie there grinding my teeth and dreaming of the day when she is made to parade naked. Pause. I'm unable to sleep. Well, if all the things that make you a person, your cells, are directing energy towards someone else, they can't complete their normal bodily functions. You're harming your own life, and you're okay with that because your goal is to harm someone else. Let me bring it back again. This is a manifesto. He's telling us what he wants. He can't sleep because he lies awake at night grinding his teeth. And if you aren't aware, teeth are bone. It takes a hell of a lot to grind them. This person has consumed himself with someone else to the point that he grinds his teeth This isn't a problem for Night Guard. This is a 72-hour hold. He said he can't wait for the day that she is made to parade naked. Humiliation fetish. Through the streets of every town in Britain, public humiliation fetish. And he's including you, citizens of the UK. While the crowds chant shame and throw lumps of excrement at her. Everyone who's my age thinks the same way. And he goes on to say that what makes him in despair, not the grinding of his teeth, not the inability to sleep, not that every cell in his body is consumed with someone else. None of those things puts him in despair. But what does put him in despair is that young girls look up to her. Everyone his age thinks the same. So Jeremy Clarkson is a danger to society. If I were to write this and say this is about Kate Middleton, Camilla Parker Bowles or Bowles, if I were to say this is about King Charles, if I were to say this is about Mother Teresa, if I were to say this is about, I don't know, Jill Biden, if I were to say this is about Melania Trump, if I were to say this was about any woman, any human, anybody else, my ass would be put in a 72-hour hold, if not worse, because this is a threat. Now, there are some who know and have acknowledged, oh, it's a reference to Game of Thrones.
Shame. 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 Shame.
There are also dragons in Game of Thrones. He could have referenced a dragon. There are also families, and something he probably also obsesses about at night when he's not sleeping. Incest. There's a lot in Game of Thrones. We don't bring that shit into reality. We had this conversation when I was 6 years old. Fiction and fact, make-believe and real life. And because I saw something on TV doesn't mean I can hurl that intent towards someone else. Albeit, not everybody had a problem with Jeremy Clarkson or Piers Morgan, because Camilla wanted to celebrate the likes of these people by throwing a Christmas brunch or lunch or whatever and inviting them. And some people have said, oh, well, she didn't know. Well, let me just say this. She invited them on December 14th to have this Christmas lunch. Two of the attendees were Piers Morgan and, like I said, Jeremy Clarkson. But he has been saying and doing these things for years. Piers might well just be her stalker at this point. He is a stalker. And I'm glad to see more and more people pushing back on Piers. There have been so many articles that he's put out long before this one that should have been cause for concern. And I'm just going to have them here at the bottom so y'all can see them. But some of the reactions included a few notable people. Carol Vorderman said, no, Jeremy Clarkson, not on any level, in any circumstance, is it okay to write this stuff about any woman, and absolutely no to everyone who's my age thinks the same. No, no, no. We absolutely do not think the same. Listen to the noise, Jeremy. The crowds are chanting, shame on you. John Bishop said, what the F is this? I don't care who you are or who you work for. You simply cannot write things like this. It is a blatant appeal to incite humiliation and violence on a woman. Some have excused it as dark humor. There is no joke here, Jeremy Clarkson, and no excuse. Edith Bowman, thanks for sharing, Dom Jolie. That's the person who shared the tweet. and who shared the article's excerpt, and she said, what a vile misogynist Jeremy Clarkson is, but also how is someone able to print such abusive comments in an actual paper? We're gonna get there. And Dom Jolly, the tweet she was responding to, said, literally godsmacked at the utterly vile and disgusting comments written about Meghan Markle by Jeremy Clarkson in The Sun. What an utter piece of trash he is. What is it with these types of men that triggers them so? We're also going to get into that. And AJ Gavon said, for anyone wanting proof of white male privilege, here's one who managed to get his fantasy of the ritual sexual humiliation of a younger biracial woman into print. That's also what scares me. Like, there have to be multiple stops before we see it. Do you have any idea what types of things we're shielded from as the general public when it comes to publications? Especially when said mediums have a governing body. Ipso is all over this. Then Jeremy Clarkson's daughter spoke out and said, my views are and have always been clear when it comes to misogyny, bullying, and the treatment of women by the media. I want to make it very clear that I stand against everything that my dad wrote about Meghan Markle, and I remain standing in support of those that are targeted with online hatred. Good for her. And this is part of what needs to happen, is people who aren't the target to also say BS, not putting up with it. The people who don't wait until you're personally offended to say this isn't okay. You have to say this isn't okay no matter what role you play. And trust me, whether you intend to or not, you are playing a role in every bit of history that happens. Whether you are complacent and quiet or an active participant, you are part of it. There is no middle ground. There is no middle ground. There is a very clear fork. Some panels took the whole ordeal as a joke. And they said the things you're supposed to say, but they sent the dog whistles out very loudly.
So it was an obvious Game of Thrones reference. It was an obvious, not serious thing as well. He wasn't proposing it as an actual official government policy.
Okay, but I think we should say very clearly that it is wrong to throw excrement at women.
Especially when they're naked.
Do we agree that?
Yeah, I think we do, mate. I think I'd go along with that.
Well, I feel like we've got to provide balance here. I think, maybe if you're an orangutan in a zoo, it's okay to poo in your hand and throw it.
Yeah, exactly.
But I was surprised at John Bishop coming out and, a comedian criticising someone.
And as a person with two eyes, a brain to process information, and ears to hear that information, after watching this clip, it definitely appears to me that they honor jokes more than safety. They honor comedy more than the well-being of actual people and the violence against women. And people like this, the enablers, deserve to be called out as well, since they do value the integrity of a joke and they're defending the joke over the safety of a human being. Since they want to make jokes so bad, I've seen a movie as well, and I can also pull things from the movie and make jokes about them in their direction. Every man on that panel deserved to meet Eileen Wuornos in her heyday. I saw Monster. It's a joke, guys. It's funny. So maybe they should have met Eileen Wuornos. Maybe they should have met Eileen Wuornos. I'm joking. By their own rules, jokes are okay, no matter what. They're funny. So I'm just gonna say, ha ha ha, ha, ha. Maybe Lizzie Borden should just run through that panel and just swing it away. Who knows? As long as I have a snare riff at the end, it's okay, right? Ha ha ha. It's not funny when people are talking about your safety. It's not funny when people are talking about you dying. It's not a joke. It's not a joke. And in addition to all of that, we have people, or we have organizations and platforms like Good Morning Britain. Good Morning Britain. That's a huge platform. I would say the biggest. They actually put out a tweet and said, should Jeremy Clarkson apologize for his comments about Meghan Markle? First of all, you're Good Morning Britain. You know her titles. But Should he apologize? See, this is where it becomes a problem for me, where everyone doesn't get and deserve a side. Not everyone's opinion is valuable. If a person's opinion could lead to the death and destruction or harm and harassment of another person or group of people, I would assume that we would no longer consider that opinion valid, and that person has now undermined themselves. There's a responsibility to being an adult. There's a responsibility to taking in media. If you can't take in fiction and not relay that to the people in your life like a psychopath, then you shouldn't have access to it. And if you can't tell the difference between a joke and wishing and trying to encourage harm on someone else to the point where it actually bothers you on a cellular level, that ain't no joke. That's a manifesto. It bothers you on a cellular level. I would highly recommend that person is put into a place, a facility where they can work those thoughts out in a manner that does not harm or infringe upon the safety of any of us. Now, I saw a video of Andrew Pierce with his take on it. So let's take in addition to just the misogyny, the misogynoir, more specifically, the aggression, the overall vileness and the unhinged of it all, Jeremy Clarkson has made a number of really ridiculous statements. I mean, he's willing to hang his hat on the fact that you in the UK need to have double the food costs. He's literally said food prices should be double in the UK. So like, he is not a well person. He's not a well person, allegedly. But I want us to stop undermining what this is and dumbing it down and not making this the big deal that it really is. Because if I showed up at your child's school and I said your child bothers me on a cellular level and deserve to be paraded naked through the streets with excrement thrown at you, would you laugh at that? Or would you report me? Deservedly so. If Jeremy Clarkson showed up at your grandmother's nursing home and said that she deserved everything he mentioned for Meghan, would you not report that as a threat? If Jeremy Clarkson showed up at your doorstep and said those same things about you, would you find it funny? Because let me tell you this, by writing for a platform such as The Sun, by sitting on a panel such as Good Morning Britain, by doing these things, these people, their thoughts, their beliefs, their hatred are front door on your doorstep, are at your kid's school, are in your living room, are in the tiny TV in your kitchen. If they have a way in, their beliefs are already running rampant. So it's my suggestion to boycott any publication harboring and sharing and publicizing and promoting these beliefs. You have more power than you think. Stop watching, stop buying, stop reading any publication that promotes violence, racism, and misogyny. You can do it. You can get your entertainment elsewhere. Hey, I'm here. Come talk to me. I also want us to stop undermining the terror that this is. It is harassment. And to make sure I was right about that, I looked it up. Was this legally considered harassment in the UK? And what I found was, and if you don't know where I got my things, my sources are in the description box below. Have a whirl. You want to check to see if something is harassment. Here are the parameters. The harassment you experienced was considered discrimination under the Equality Act if both the following apply. You didn't want it to happen, 1. You were scared, humiliated, or offended, or the person was trying to make you feel that way, 2. I would say these comments fall under that umbrella, and The Sun published it knowing that it's illegal to do so in everyday life. Harassment can include things like verbal abuse, bullying, jokes, making faces, and posting comments about you on social media. It also includes sexual harassment. Sexual harassment can include things like commenting on your clothes or appearance, sending you messages with sexual content, or making sexual comments, even if they're not about you. For example, it's sexual harassment if you find out your colleagues are sharing offensive sexual jokes in a WhatsApp group. Oh wait, that did happen to Meghan as well. Wasn't it the Metro Police as well? You don't deserve to be harassed. Neither does Meghan. I wanted to look up how a person like Jeremy Clarkson gets that way. How do you get like this? Obsessive, dangerous, maniacal, psychotic, and allegedly. And a lot of publications and websites also cited below mention that these types of hostile, angry outbursts are often covers for other emotions such as fear, sadness, guilt, shame, envy, jealousy, loneliness, and emasculation. When it becomes harmful is when you decide to have outbursts, lash out, snarl, obsess over someone else or the well-being or lack thereof of someone else. Also cited in the description box below, I found this excerpt. In early childhood, violence and aggression are used to express emotions and distress. Over time, aggression in males shifts to asserting power over another, particularly when masculinity is threatened. Pellegrini and Bartini, 2001. Masculine ideals, such as the restriction of emotional expression and the pressure to conform to expectations of dominance and aggression, may heighten the potential for boys to engage in general acts of violence, including but not limited to bullying, assault, and or physical and verbal aggression. Feder, Levant, and Dean, 2010. But this is more of an obsession. Look at all the articles. Look at all the articles just in the last 3 years that he's put out about one person. Obsession is a motivational drive gone haywire. We are impelled to think about it and seek out this other person so intensely that it disrupts our ability to concentrate on anything else. Did he not describe, I can't sleep because I'm thinking of her? The neuroscience driving this irresistible urge is based around rewarding seeking arousal and pair bonding, and it differs in key respects from other forms of obsession, such as obsessive compulsive disorder or erotomania. Erotomania. Those differences can explain why romantic obsession begins and why some people are so compelling to us that they cause a complete upending of our previous stable lives. And the only thing I will say that needs to be corrected about this is that they don't cause that in us. We cause that in us. He caused that in himself. He's obsessed on a dangerous and, by his words, cellular level. He's maniacal. Necessary action needs to be taken, and that could include seeking mental help. If you are in Jeremy Clarkson's inner circle, Camilla the Bowel, I would recommend that you seek help for him or encourage him to get help. So let's make sure we differentiate what he's doing versus a typical person who may experience anger in everyday life. During situations where anger is appropriate, it's healthy to express it in a controlled fashion. This may include anything from taking a step back, engaging in deep breathing, visualizing something more positive, or asserting oneself tactfully. However, when anger becomes a default emotion on a cellular level, personal and interpersonal problems may arise. Chronic anger issues and problems coping with anger can lead to abuse, violence, road rage, problems at home and work, and much more. Oh, I think those problems at work are just now starting for Mr. Clarkson. If you yourself are being harassed or someone you know is being harassed, here is how they should handle that. Report it to the police. I don't care how small you think it is, report it. You can report harassment to the police. They can charge someone with criminal harassment if it follows these following guidelines. By the police standards, this is a criminal offense. The person has harassed you more than once. The harassment made you feel distressed and alarmed. If the police decide to charge someone, they'll send the case to the Crown Prosecution Services. The CPS is an organization that can take people to court. This is called prosecution. If the CPS decide not to prosecute the person who harassed you, they must let you know. You can report harassment to the police on their website, and I have provided the link below to report harassment. If you yourself ever experience harassment, someone you know experiences harassment, keep this link. If you don't want to call the police, you can use this link to report it. The press regulator has received 6,000 complaints, and that was just at 5 this morning. I'm sure there are more to come. And just to kind of grasp how much that is, in 2021, they received 14,000 complaints total. In the last week, they've received 6,000. So I want to get into my thoughts on this matter. I want to first say that this is misogynoir, because I believe with every fiber of my being that this would not have been acceptable to the Sun to publicize had this been about someone white. Personally, I cannot imagine them saying this about Kate. I can't imagine them publishing this about Kate. They've crossed the line with her, but I cannot imagine them going this far. And they only went this far is because they've been allowed to go up until this moment forever. See, the thing is, when people do egregious shit, it's not just this one encounter. When someone disrespects you and you take a second to be like, what the hell was that? Stop and think. Because it didn't just jump from perfectly respectable to getting in your face. This was a slow, inching, moving forward motion over time. I'm desensitizing you to my disrespect in small ways, cutting you off when you speak, hanging up just short of saying goodbye, ignoring you when you're speaking. When we're talking, I'm looking at my phone, cutting you off, getting loud with you here and there, maybe entering a few name call moments, maybe standing over you when we're in disagreements. This type of disrespect interpersonally happens over time. With publications such as The Sun, it happens over time by saying just a little bit of things that toe the line, just here and there. Oh, they didn't defend that, so they're not going to defend this. And if they defend this, then they're going to have to justify why they didn't defend that. So now we've got free reign. That's why you cut disrespect off at the head. When people are rude to me, I don't care how small, I call it out because I hold my own standard for myself. And I would rather have no friends that intend to disrespect me than friends who think they can get away with it. Every time you fail to protect yourself, you betray yourself in the interest of someone else. Their comfort, their vibe, their energy, their good mood, this happy holiday. I don't want to say anything because we're all having so much fun. I don't want to say anything because they're in a good mood. It's a vibe. And I'm not going to say anything because they've always been so nice. This is just a one-off. It's never a one-off. They're trying to figure out how far they can push the envelope. Rip that bitch open and let them know it's not okay. What you allow is truly what you perpetuate. Like I said, everything is a choice. Everything has a side A and a side B, if not more. There's always a side. You cannot exist in this world peacefully or non-peacefully by not taking a stand, by not making a choice, by not taking a side. And the reason that I say that is because it may feel like, oh, well, that's not my problem, so I'm not going to get involved. You're making a choice to stay on the side of the perpetrator when you fail to act. That's a choice. It's a decision. It's a side. When you say, oh, you know what? This doesn't meet disrespect on my terms, although that person feels disrespected, but I don't feel like they should feel disrespected. I'm going to stay out of it. You're on the side of the perpetrator. You may as well have done it yourself. Abusers do not exist in a vacuum. Abusers exist within a world of enablers who prop them up and accentuate their abuse by saying nothing. That's why that creepy uncle who comes to the family functions shouldn't be invited, should be reported. That's why that cousin who don't wear shorts around him, you know they say he. You're part of the problem. That's why that stepdad that get loud at the dinner table because I had a hard day at work shouldn't be around your babies. Shouldn't be around your babies. Shouldn't be around your family. That's why that man who, when he gets mad, he stands over you and punches a wall. I'm desensitizing you to my violence. So one day that wall is going to be your face. That man who just grabbed your arm because he got mad, but he's never hit me. Newsflash, physical contact during anger is hitting you. That's abuse. What you allow is what you perpetuate. If you fail to say something once or twice, if you fail to say something, you have chosen to enable the abuser. You have chosen to prop them up and perpetuate their abuse. You are complicit. Sorry. I also want to end this by saying Meghan is a person, a human being. And it appears to me that the people on the side of Meghan and on the opposing side fail to see her as human. And you say she doesn't deserve abuse. She doesn't deserve abuse. Leave out the following. No matter how you feel about her, she doesn't deserve XYZ. Why does that have to be brought up? Meghan is not a criminal. Meghan is not a deranged maniac like Jeremy Clarkson. She's a person. She's a person. She's a person by herself. No matter how you feel about her, well, if it's no matter, then you shouldn't have to preface anything you say about her. She's a human. Meghan doesn't deserve XYZ. Say it with your chest. Meghan doesn't deserve to be abused. Say it with your chest. Meghan doesn't deserve to be abused. I don't care about appealing to both sides. This isn't a bipartisan issue. Abuse against women is real, and it has nothing to do with your political affiliation. If you can't say a woman doesn't deserve to be abused, you are a problem. Some people might have some hard truths to face today. Let me usher you in to the mirror. Go look at yourself and ask, why can't I say Meghan doesn't deserve abuse? Why? Second, Prince Harry's wife doesn't deserve abuse. Stop. Meghan doesn't deserve abuse, no matter who she's married to. Meghan doesn't deserve abuse no matter who her mother is. Meghan doesn't deserve abuse no matter who her grandmother-in-law, mother-in-law, father-in-law is. Meghan doesn't deserve abuse no matter what her royal titles are. Meghan doesn't deserve abuse no matter where she was born, where she lives, who she knows, what she buy at the store, what she put on her feet when she go jogging. Meghan doesn't need a preface to not deserve abuse. No matter who she is affiliated with, women don't deserve abuse. Let me say this again. No matter who her mom is, no matter who her dad is, no matter who her husband is, no matter who her wife is, no matter who her children are, her brothers, her sisters, her cousins, no matter who she knows in this world, a woman deserves to live in peace without harassment. Too many people are out there saying, well, you know, Prince Harry's wife should get to live a happy life. So if she weren't Prince Harry's wife, and she simply rejected this man, and she simply was walking to a bus stop, and she simply was getting a croissant, if she was going to the gas station, if she was getting her oil change, if she was just on Twitter looking to scroll, if she was walking her kids to the front of their school, no matter who she was, as long as she's married to Prince Harry, she doesn't deserve the harassment. But if she wasn't, then she would. That's why I say words matter. That's why I put my favorite podcast on a very high scale, because they say it all the time, words mean things. And when you say Prince Harry's wife doesn't deserve to be abused because of what he's been through, she exists outside of the feelings of her husband. He doesn't deserve to go through this again because he watched what happened to his mother. But that's a separate issue. Someone launching an attack at Meghan, we shouldn't feel bad for Meghan because of how it will affect her husband. We should not be okay with it because it shouldn't be happening, full stop. We should be supporting not only her, but women as a whole, because it's the right thing to do. We shouldn't be putting up with abuse towards women. We shouldn't be accepting, embodying, uplifting, permitting abuse towards women. I have had people say things because of who my husband is and say things like, oh, well, because you're his wife, XYZ. Well, hold up. I'm a woman. I'm a person. When I got essayed at work, one of the things that the HR manager said, and of course we know you're married, so his advances should stop. No, my coworker groping me should stop because I'm a person, not because I'm married, not because in your world this is some sort of morality issue. The only morality issue here is the fact that he is abusing me and you should protect me and you're not. So while I understand the concern for Harry, and I'm not saying don't have that, please do, because he deserves it. I want to make sure when we're talking about this particular issue, we're not standing for it because she doesn't deserve it. Not because we admire her husband, but because she herself doesn't deserve it. Women don't deserve it. And we should be able to say that and say, Meghan, no matter how accomplished she is, no matter who she knows and what she does and what she puts out into this world, no matter her successes, no matter her failures, no matter her kids, no matter her parents, her spouses, her husband, her friends, no matter who she is and what she does, she doesn't deserve to be harassed, full stop. And the reason is she's a person with feelings, and her feelings and her experience and her safety are the only thing that we should use to justify why she doesn't deserve it. If you want to complain to the IPSO, I have provided a link below, and they've already received 6,000. I expect that to grow. I found this article to be terrifying. I thought it impeded on the safety of every woman in the UK. I did. And I'm sure you, if you're watching this channel, you likely feel very similarly. So I'm trying to help provide opportunities for everyone who wants their voice heard to use the description box below. Because Jeremy Clarkson should be in a mental facility after that. He needs to be evaluated. He needs to be checked on. Your cells in your body should be creating health and wellness within you, continuing your lifespan, and helping you to live day to day. They should not be hating another woman. And it scares me for everybody, not only Meghan, but it scares me for all the women in Jeremy Clarkson's life and all the women he may or may not interact with. Does Jeremy Clarkson not have any female coworkers? When he goes to the store, are there never any women? When he walks to his car, are there other women parked nearby? Does he ever go to bars where women will be present? Does he ever go to events where women will be present? See, these are all the women I'm also thinking of. I'm not just thinking of Meghan because I support her. I'm also thinking of this person has expressed this need to do something very vile to another woman for no reason, and there's no justifiable reason for it. But I'm also scared for the women who may encounter Jeremy Clarkson when he's on one of these overnight, late night benders of obsessing over hating a woman, the woman he bumps into when he's checking the mail. What's she gonna get? What has happened in the past? Any unsolved crimes where he just happened to be present and a witness? Like, I don't know. People like him and Piers Morgan need help. And Camilla is the representative in my mind of all those women who hide behind misogyny when it benefits them. Those women who know how to play the game of women deserve rights and women deserve, but when it benefits them, i.e. usually regarding a woman of color, they turn that switch and they ride that ride of their fragility and their femininity, their softness. She has a long history of being anti-woman. She harassed and abused a 19-year-old woman up until her dying day. So, I personally think, and this is not outrageous, I personally think Camilla needs to put out a statement of apology, not only to her subjects and her citizens, But she needs to put out a statement of apology to Meghan herself for inviting her daughter-in-law's abusers to her house. I think the palace should come out very strong against this. And as of today at 10:29 a.m. Eastern, that has not happened. If it does, I will be continuing this in future videos. That's all I've got for you today. I had nothing positive today. I had no high energy. I tried. We have the live stream tonight at 5:30 p.m. I'm going to try to get some good energy in here before then so we can have some fun tonight. But Camilla, you owe her an apology, and you owe an apology to everyone who considers you queen consort. Your people, your subjects, your citizens deserve better. She is truly the hemorrhoid in the anus of the royal family, and she's acting like it. She's disgusting. And Charles, stop hiding behind your wife.
This statement is not an apology. This statement shows no remorse and glaring lack of concern. This statement does not show a fundamental understanding of the danger and violence incited. This statement is disrespectful, callous, and flippant. Jeremy Clarkson and what he represents is dangerous.
That's all I've got. Thank you so much for watching. If you have not already, feel free to like this video, subscribe. I don't care. Do whatever you're gonna do with this video. I do not care because it's not positive. It's not fun. Go ahead and like this video. Do whatever you're gonna do with it. I will see y'all tonight. Bye.